Welcome to another great edition of Beacons of Light. I'm really excited today. We've got a special guest on, Jeffrey Beamguard, the National Director of Stores for St. Vincent de Paul. How are you, Jeffrey?
I'm good. Yeah, glad to be here again.
Well, tell the audience where you're stationed from a national perspective.
The national office is in St. Louis, Missouri. I am a remote employee that works in Phoenix, Arizona, actually, in a little community just west of there in Avondale, Arizona, outside of what's called the National Store, which is a model store that was put together by a bunch of executives in 2019 to help the 400 plus thrift stores throughout St. Vincent de Paul, coast to coast, that needed a little help, that might be struggling with some of their stores, to come in and they could view that store in person, fly out there and come visit that store at no charge, or they could utilize my services one-on-one, and I will come out to their location and do a full assessment of all of their locations, all their stores, warehouses, to help them kind of get things back on track again.
No doubt about it. I call his model the Jeffrey model. And, I say we're becoming disciples of Jeffrey's model of thrift stores. And your model is just to kind of look at what's happening. And then in an operation, whether it be Baton Rouge, how many places have you gone to do this assessment?
Last year I did 30 different locations from coast to coast. Some just single store operations, some multi-store operations. And as a matter of fact, I have 2 locations, Austin, Texas, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that completely turned their operations around from a negative number to a positive number in less than a year.
Yes. And they're losing some dollars, and we're losing some dollars on our thrift stores when you're trying to give away stuff and trying to produce, not only to pay your expenses, but to produce dollars that can go to help our neighbors in need. That's critical. And so when you turn those operations around, you do good for the St. Vincent de Paul mission.
It's not as easy as a lot of people would think to run a thrift store, especially nowadays. One of the problems that we have at the National Store is we don't get enough quality donations. Mm-hmm. It's located in an area that has a low household income, and folks in that neighborhood just don't have the goods to donate.
And that's a challenge throughout the country, and it is something that, whether it's Baton Rouge or, Pittsburgh or Austin, it really, when you get these donations, you have to process them quickly, but you have to be efficient. That's, I guess, I've seen your model in action, so it's efficiency, isn't it?
It's all about efficiency, and the fact is you want to handle it the least amount of times. Preferably just handle it once. Either put it out or throw it out.
Right.
Is kind of the mentality. Now, throw it out doesn't mean you put it in the garbage. You may recycle it.
Right.
And recycling is something that I can help folks, with their books, their excess clothing, their shoes, their linens. All of those things have value in a sub-market.
Right.
And there are folks that will buy that product where before they may have just been discarding it and not getting any money for that recycling.
And that's the beauty of your model, is that everything of value is valued, and then you try to optimize that. So ultimately, the thrift store operations making a really big impact in the community.
Unbelievable impact when you consider all of that stuff that would normally go to a landfill is getting a second life, so to speak. Yes. And thrift stores are a big deal now. There's lots of competition out there, lots of charities and for-profits running thrift stores. Some people don't know the difference. Regardless, that stuff is getting a second life somewhere, and it's trendy. Young kids certainly like buying stuff that is not from the rack at a regular retail store, but comes from a thrift store where it would be unique. And that's kind of what drives this thrift store market today, is the younger shoppers buying some of that stuff because they don't want to look like everybody else that's, in their school or their community or at their local establishment. They want to look different. They want to look unique.
They want to really get something special.
Yeah.
And talking about things that are special, what are some of the things that you've seen donated to thrift stores, St. Vincent de Paul or otherwise, in your background over the last quarter century?
There's a lot of stuff that people get rid of. Sometimes it may be an estate where their folks have maybe passed away, or they've had to move out of the home that they grew up in, and they have to get rid of that stuff to sell the home. So some of that stuff, they may be in a different state. They have to come in and get rid of that stuff quickly. They don't go through it meticulously like they normally would just to get the place emptied. So there's lots of jewelry, lots of gold, lots of fine art, cars, boats. There was a Rolls Royce that was donated one time from an attorney, and we ended up putting that through a kind of a silent bid auction. But that created a lot of buzz and a lot of who in the heck would give a Rolls Royce away. And so we made a lot of fun out of that, auctioning that thing off. I've had a house that was donated, a very, very nice house, with one condition. It had to be moved.
Wow.
So I had to find a lot and arrange movers and build a foundation and put that house on a different lot, a different part of town, which was kind of a lot of fun. Not my wheelhouse, but I had to learn how to do all that stuff.
Yeah, well, what a great story.
Yeah.
And before we went on camera, I mentioned that somebody had donated a house to us. Fortunately for us, it was a long-time Vincentian, and so he left the land, the house, in a really nice neighborhood in Baton Rouge, and this was many years ago. But, the generosity of people is outstanding, isn't it, Jeffrey?
It never ceases to amaze me. The folks that come in, and whether they've got a bag or a few bags in the back of their trunk, or a pickup or a U-Haul full of stuff because they're moving, the fact that they pick St. Vincent de Paul out of all these other choices, and they feel good about it, and they'll tell me that they drove extra to come to our store to drop that stuff off because they love our mission.
Right.
And they hear about our mission, especially this time of year. Thanksgiving and Christmas are a time where everybody wants to help, and that's their way of helping.
Right.
So I just see that look and smile in their face, and how thankful they are that we're even there to help, and to help our neighbors in need.
No doubt about it. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the mission of the society and why our thrift stores are so important to our local community. For over 20 years, the St. Vincent de Paul Community Pharmacy has served our area. We provide prescription medicines for those who have nowhere to turn for this most basic healthcare need. Please, if you need your medicine or you know a family member that needs their medicine, contact us. Kay, how can they get in touch?
383-7450.
Give us a call today and spread the word so that we can ensure no one goes without their prescription medication. Well, welcome back. We're here to talk about the mission of the society. And sometimes when you talk about the mission, minutes can kind of feel like hours, right, Jeffrey?
No doubt about it.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, tell me, when you went to that first St. Vincent de Paul national meeting, what did that feel like?
Well, once a year, all Vincentians and all the folks that want to come and visit a St. Vincent de Paul meeting, once a year, the last one, or the very first one I went to was in Houston, Texas. It's my very first one. I had butterflies. I was very nervous about kind of what to expect. I had no idea. I knew there was going to be about 800-900 folks there. What I didn't count on is that there were people there not only to find out more about stores and to learn about thrift stores, but they were there to enhance their faith.
Oh, yeah.
They were there to find out more about disaster service.
Yes.
All sorts of different programs and workshops designed to sort of meet any of their needs when they went to these shows. And every year I go. Last year was Baltimore. Next one coming up is in Phoenix in August. And what a lovely time to go to Phoenix, but August.
I know. You're going to bake us there, right?
I know. It's going to be a little toasty, no question about it. But Phoenix is one of those areas that has so much for the needy and the homeless and our neighbors in need. And so I'm excited for those that want to come to Phoenix where I live and see that.
No doubt. Well, I've been to Phoenix twice this year. I didn't call you when I was in there August or when I was there in October because it was like all kinds of different things. The city sent me there in August, and then I went to John Berry's meeting with the Development Committee, our national president,
Sure.
In October. So it was really a lot of fun to visit the city and really spend time with those great folks from St. Vincent de Paul and Phoenix. You're right. They're the largest group in the country, and to be there with the national store real close next door, it's fantastic.
Yeah, that was the idea, is to put that national store in that region near that Phoenix Council so that they could sort of help us get started. We could use their resources. It was started by a couple of board members. One was an exec at Walmart that worked right under Sam Walton.
Yes.
And he was instrumental in getting that first store going, which was kind of the national model. We're working on our second one in Fairview Heights, Illinois, that should open sometime in April. So that'll help kind of divide the country, a little less travel. Same model, kind of same idea. The idea that there would be one of those in each of the 6 regions.
Yes, which is
the
exciting.
future. Yeah.
I mean, it really, when you look at, we talked about the dynamics of thrift stores, and I'm beginning my 35th year, and when you see the changes, for the first, I'd say 30 or so years, we did okay. I mean, we were giving a lot of stuff away, we were selling a lot of stuff, we were recycling things. But we had more of a finesse type model, which we were successful with. But in today's economy, finesse is not good. You have to be disciplined. You have to be focused on efficiency, because otherwise you just don't get the outcome.
It has to be run like a business.
Yes.
Nonprofit doesn't mean you don't make money.
That's correct.
You have to make money in this business.
Right.
And if you don't watch it,
right,
you will lose money.
That's correct.
Even when your product is all donated,
correct,
you still will lose money because wages are going up, utilities are going up, rent's going up, just like for everybody else. So it's going on with the thrift stores. And so if they're not diligent and running it like a business, bad things happen.
And I think that's the overall vision with the national store. The vision is we have a national model, we've got 400 stores, and they all can be better. It's not where we're at, it's where we can be. And the national store in Arizona is in a place where you have taken something that is just a great vision for the future of all St. Vincent de Paul stores.
Yeah, that building actually belonged to one of our competitors that moved. And the reason that competitor moves from a location is that they don't get good donations. They have to feed it from other locations in town to keep the shelves stocked.
Right.
Customers will come, but if you don't have stuff coming in the back door, the merchandise becomes stale, it doesn't get rotated, and then the people quit coming.
Right.
That's sort of the mentality or the slow death of a store,
Right.
so to speak. And so you've got to compensate from that and get product from other areas to supplement that and keep everything fresh.
Yes, and fresh, efficient, and what I've been amazed at is you've got a great color coding technique. Stuff comes in, like you said in the first segment, one touch. You don't need to be touching merchandise 18 times.
No.
One touch, and it gets on that sales floor, and you start at one price and you end up at 99 cents, and then it's recycle time.
Correct. It's rotation.
Yep.
So if it doesn't sell at full price, there's a reason. So then you incentivize the customer to buy it at a discount. So the third week it would be at 25% off. The fourth week it'd be at 50% off. And the fifth week it's 99 cents. So if it's been around for 5 weeks, you want to move it out.
Right.
So you give a great deal to the customer to come in.
Right.
And get that shirt, pair of pants, dress, whatever. There's no restrictions on it. That fifth week it's 99 cents.
This is some great bargains in the store.
Unbelievable bargains.
And that helps you pay that rent and that electricity and all these rising costs. I mean, obviously here in Baton Rouge, as well as all the other groups, you're giving stuff away too. But the bottom line is you have to be so effective, because if you're going to be successful in your mission, you can't do that with being inefficient.
No, you can't be inefficient. And as the competition grows, we have to grow with it, or we just kind of get squished. We get stuck. And so we have to grow with all of the other competitors out there and offer the same pricing, the same values, the same, everything that's going on in the store that they offer.
And that is critical. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more with Jeffrey about how donations are so important, how people can kind of help us with those donations, things that we do want, things that we can't use, and things that would help us to even cut some of our costs. When we come back, we'll talk about this new vision for thrift stores throughout the entire country. The Society of St. Vincent de Paul's first cookbook, Taste and See, is the gift which helps share the goodness of the Lord with those most in need. Featuring recipes from Chef John Foles, each chapter begins with a short story about one of our special work programs. To order your copy of Taste and See, please call the Society or visit our website. Help multiply blessings for the neediest in our community. Welcome back. We've got a really important person with us, Jeffrey Beamguard. We're having fun talking about thrift stores, and when people donate things, Jeffrey, it's important that we can either sell it, give it away. It's got to be usable, right?
That's the most important thing, is that it's usable, because when folks donate stuff that is something that we cannot use or sell, then it kind of creates a burden to the charity, and that's an expense. It takes away from what we can give away and how we can help folks. So yes, please think of St. Vincent de Paul year-round. We certainly need your donations. We want your donations, but it does have to be sellable when we get it.
And is it fair to say, I know you've got so much experience in thrift stores. For us, it breaks our heart when we have to throw something away. And it breaks my heart even more when I have to pay the garbage bill. And you see that when you go across the country, things that aren't usable, you can't even give the items away if it's torn or not, chairs that you really can't sit in or tables that are torn up. You see that across the country, don't you?
I do, and it sort of takes away from the appearance of the store.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't like when I come in and I see something that really shouldn't have ever gone out or shouldn't have been dropped off or picked up. Then we have to end up putting it in the landfill at a cost. So, donate stuff that is sellable or you think it's sellable, or give us a call. We certainly would kind of give you some parameters on what we take and what we don't take, because there are certain things that we don't take. Like chemicals and house, like remodeling fixtures, doors, windows, those kind of things. What the St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores really focus on is clothing, housewares, and goods, sellable furniture.
Oh, yes.
That's what people are looking for when they come into a St. Vincent de Paul store.
And shoes. We can never get enough shoes, can we?
Shoes, linens.
Oh,
we all of that stuff, yes. But those garage kind of items, really, there's really not a demand for those things. I know that those folks want to get rid of those things sometimes when they move, but they just don't go inside of a thrift store very well.
Yes, and we talked earlier in the earlier segment, the fun stuff that you get, whether it's a Rolls Royce, houses. It's got to be eye-opening after doing this for 25 years. I know for me, I've seen so many different things come through. It's exciting. We've even used eBay. We got an RV one time and sold it on eBay, You've got to have just so many memories of different things, huh?
There's a lot of different things that I recall, signed jerseys from football players and baseball, basketball players that really were in the hands of that person when you stop and think about it at one point. And there's a big demand for it. People that are sports memorabilia fans, they love that stuff.
Oh, yes.
And so we tend to focus that stuff and put that in the jewelry display case where, kind of people can look at it and come in, and that real unique stuff, that stuff that they may find on eBay or online, is right in a St. Vincent de Paul store right up their street.
I always say you never know what you're going to find in a St. Vincent de Paul store, huh?
From day to day.
Oh, it changes.
Because there's new stock being put out every day.
Right.
And then the old stock gets pulled, so it's fresh. It's always going to be new when you come in.
Yes.
So we're looking for people to come back over and over again, tell their friends and their family.
So if somebody donates an LSU football jersey signed by Jaden Daniels or Joe Burrow, that don't go on 99 cents, It
will sell in the first day or two that it's out.
Exactly, a top dollar.
Yeah.
And every one of those dollars then goes back to feeding people, helping people. And, it's amazing because like we were talking about earlier, if you explain to people, hey, we can't take this item because we're not going to be able to even give it away, and it's going to have to go to the landfill, it's going to cost them money. They understandable. People are good people. And you've seen that within the whole St. Vincent de Paul community, haven't you?
People get the message that they don't want to burden the charity. So 99.9 of the folks that are out there giving want to help.
Yep.
And they know that we need it, and that it goes to support our mission. Fact is, we were talking earlier about the folks that give to us will drive past our competition potentially to give to us because they love our mission and they love what we do.
It's a great mission, and I know that you've only been with the society now a few years, but it's a mission that you just can embrace, and when I go to the national meetings, wherever they may be held, it's a great coming together of great people
from all over the country. You name it, they're coming in there, and what I like to do is I'll run into people that may have seen me somewhere or heard me speak somewhere that want to talk out in the hallway.
Yes.
So there's a time where I first met you at a luncheon.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Where we were having lunch together, and you and I talked for you
Yeah.
know, at the hour that we were
That's
sitting there
right.
having lunch about everything that we had in common.
Yeah.
And that's how we got to where we are today.
That's exactly right. We said, look, we're struggling. Can you
Yeah.
come and can you come and help us out? And you know, in a minute, I said, yeah, I'm following that Jeffrey model because I mean, when you do something, you understand what works, what is the most effective so that you achieve the outcomes. And mission is about outcomes. And for us, we don't have to have a wonderful picture of St. Vincent de Paul behind us to know what that outcome is. It's helping kids. It's helping people in need. It's helping people experiencing homelessness, poverty, etc. It makes such a difference. And I know that's got to just fire you up.
When I'm in my office, I often will just pick up the phone when it's ringing. And 50% of the time, it is a family needing something, whether it be rent assistance, it may be housing, it may be utility. The need is so great out there. And sometimes it's 30 or 40 phone calls in a day from the folks out there, and they're in need. And they're calling St. Vincent de Paul, reaching out, sometimes at the last minute. I mean, it's like eviction. And the last thing that St. Vincent de Paul wants of any family is to create more homelessness.
Right.
We already have enough homelessness. If we can keep somebody in a family for another 30 days, let them get back on their feet again, give them some food, transportation, a job, that's what it's all about for us. And that really makes me feel so darn good. Or a family that might need a bed or beds for their kids. We're able to come in and give those beds away and get a kid that's been sleeping on the floor a real bed and some clean sheets to use for the night.
Which is powerful.
Oh, I've seen it done over and over and over again. There's a family that we helped just recently where all their belongings had burned in the fire. They hadn't moved all their stuff yet. Their house caught fire that night, and the place that they'd moved into, they didn't have anything.
You provided hope in a very powerful way.
We did.
And I want to thank you on behalf of the entire, I don't have a right to do this, but I want to do it from the National Council's point of view. Thank you for what you're doing. You're providing hope to us here in Baton Rouge and throughout the country. And if you'd like to learn more about St. Vincent de Paul, visit us at our website at svdpbr.org. We'll see you again next week on Beacons of Light.